Hey, once more, Steve here from CELTAhelper.com, and another question to get stuck into from my wonderful readers. So I get quite a lot of people who are already experienced teachers, maybe not in English language, but many of them ask me similar things, and especially those who are not sure about doing the course. So in this video and post, I want to cover basically, how is the CELTA course for experienced teachers? Is it that much easier? Also, will it add value to you if you already have experience? And how will it help with career progression? So first of all, let me preface this by saying that the CELTA course is not easy for anyone. Now, I did it as someone who had very small amount of teaching experience. In fact, I've only done a module of TESOL on my university degree before it, and we had very little teaching practice or assessed teaching practice. So that gave me a bit of confidence, but still I felt pretty unsure about my abilities, even though I thought I could pass the course. Fortunately, I did. However, it's the amount of work more than anything, and the very specific nature of the work that you're given in such an intensive and short time period, as you've probably heard, that makes it hard for everyone. Yes, having the teaching experience will help, because that will give you the confidence in your ability and will help with things like lesson planning. However, you still have to do everything in the CELTA way, so you've got to learn to fit into that system, and that is very specific for things like lesson planning, the style of teaching, because it's very much communicative, and all the other administrative things you have to do, the assignments and so on. So yes, the confidence should obviously be there, but again, it's going to be hard for all. So please don't think you can just walk in after a couple of years of teaching and breeze through. It's not going to work like that, but you should be fine if you do have experience. Now, will it add value to you as an experienced teacher? Well, only you can really answer that, because it totally depends on what you're planning to use it for. Again, as I often say, have a look online, look at the types of jobs you want to apply for, or whatever organizations you're thinking about, and see what they say. Get in touch with them if you need to, send them an email, and they will surely tell you what you need. If you want to go another route, maybe a bit more discreet, you can have a look at people who already work in the types of jobs you want to do on LinkedIn, and you can see what qualifications they've got. If they've all got CELTAs, then obviously that looks like it's going to be a prerequisite as well. So yeah, the value proposition of a CELTA really depends on your own specific circumstances and goals for your future, where you want to work and how you want to work. But it is such an internationally recognized certificate and qualification that it really does open up a lot of doors. And I suppose I've answered the next question somewhat with that. Does it help with career progression? As above, yeah. All about you and what you know. And yeah, it's for you to really answer in terms of just reflecting and thinking about what you've done in the past, where you see yourself maybe in 5 years' time. One thing I will say, though, is that I got a lot of transferable skills from the CELTA, my own personal experience, and I really like the way it makes you focus on interactions with people and how you communicate your message. Now, I haven't done the PGCE, which in the UK is the standard qualification for teaching in states or state schools. However, from people who I know have done it, I think much more the focus on that is following a syllabus, making appropriate lesson plans, and meeting the specific objectives as set out by the government and whichever organization. And it makes you a very methodical teacher, but it doesn't perhaps have the same focus, because obviously you're on a different subject, on the communicative side that CELTA does. And what I really liked about CELTA is it really picks up on these interactions with people. And being a language student in the past, having studied French and Spanish at undergraduate level, I really enjoy thinking about how you communicate your message, especially with low level learners, people who can barely speak English. How are you going to communicate these messages to them in a clear and effective way? And obviously you don't want to talk too much. There's all these other things that you will get into on your CELTA. But for me, that was really interesting. And it does make you focus, certainly, on just keeping things simple. And there was one other thing I was going to say actually as well, and that might be for the experienced teachers. When you're coming in from having done your training in a different style or a different, with a different focus, then you might be bringing in certain bad habits or errors as well that you have to watch out for. So don't be complacent and be prepared to change, because there could be a very steep learning curve in the sense of coming from one style of teaching and being told, well, no, you're doing this wrong and this wrong and this wrong all over again. It might be deja vu for some of you, because I know many of these teaching qualifications around the world are very strict, and the CELTA is no different. They have their style and you have to follow it. And as a friend of mine said to me when he did the CELTA before me, it's a lot like a driving test. You have to follow the rules exactly 110% until you pass the test, and then after you pass, you're on the open road. You drive safely, but there are some things that you don't have to do every second while you're behind the wheel. So just think about that. Hope that's useful and some food for thought, especially for those of you who are already experienced teachers. And let me know if you have any other questions. Just leave them in a comment below and I will get back to you soon. Thank you, and well, catch you again. Bye.